Say what you will about DEET, but out here, it's really the only thing that'll keep the bugs away. So right now we are actually waiting on some material to be dropped off from a local supply company before we can get started on our next big project, which is the carport. So in the meantime, we've got some work to do. I'm just in here taking a look at the solar. Everything looks pretty good. We are in bulk. We have a little bit of sun today, but I'm not sure if we're going to have enough sun to get us in the float. But we should be able to at least get into absorb, which is good. So, all right. Well, today we are going to be working on firewood. Now, 2 years ago, we did a video called splitting like 9 cords of firewood in a weekend. Wow, that was a big fat failure. There was no way that was going to happen. So, but this year we're not doing that. We are actually going to be taking some firewood from our woodshed and moving it over to the storage shed next to the cabin. We're doing that so I don't have to do it later. And I'll show you here. I need to clean this area up. I haven't really done much over here this summer. And, well, you can tell. It's extremely overgrown. I've got all kinds of things growing in here. And the woodshed needs a little love. So we're going to actually start pulling some of this stuff out of here. I got to cut all this grass down a little bit so I can get in here. But the other thing we're going to do, and I've talked about this in prior videos, but last year we almost lost our roof. I had a brain fart when I built this roof, and I left these ends on, so we got to cut these ends off. What happens is, as the snow comes down, it hits the ends here, and then just gets stuck, and it's not good. So, all right, I got to get some tools, get the tractor going. Let's move some firewood. The weather has not been the greatest these last few days, but it did give us an opportunity to get out and do some work on our road. That's why I had my blade hooked up to the tractor. So between my neighbor and I, we were able to do a little maintenance on the road this week. He broke it up with a little attachment he's got that he pulls behind his truck, and then once he broke up that layer, then certain spots, at least I was able to go behind and run the box blade or the blade and try to smooth out and level out the road. It was pretty effective for the most part, I think. It took a couple of days to do. I'm gonna go ahead and get this blade off because we're going to be using the tractor to move some firewood. So if you're new to the channel, I purchased this tractor here earlier this year, and one of the complaints I had was that there was nothing to prevent these guys from just kind of, you know, fleeing around, you know. So I did have this bar from another tractor that we have, and it works great to keep everything in line. Check this out. Holy smokes. This is cool, guys. So we're going to leave this guy here. We're not going to mess with him. He's right there. I'm not really too fond of snakes. Jen doesn't mind them. However, Maine has no poisonous snakes. But we have a ton of these guys on the homestead. And honestly, they'll keep the mice and vole population down for us. So as long as they keep doing their job, they're welcome here on the homestead. We try not to bother them, but yeah, it is kind of cool to see them. All right, we have almost a full load here. I'm going to finish this up, and then we're going to take it over to the cabin, and we're going to get it loaded up in the shed over there. So we can hold about a quart of wood in here, but from the looks of it. It's going to take quite a while, quite a few trips, so yeah. Holy smokes. That's it for load number 1. Now we got to get load number 2. A lot of wood to move, but honestly, this is good work because, I mean, survival out here during the winter times, you're relying on good, dry firewood to stay warm. It's just the way of life. Okay, so we have filled up our woodshed as best as we're going to for now. We don't want to fill it all the way up. We do want to be able to get in here if we need to. So, all right, so that's done. I think what I'm going to do next is I've been meaning to give the tractor a little wash. So we're going to wash down the tractor. All right, so we have finished filling our shed over by the cabin. The rest of this wood here, we're actually going to take and stick on this row. The reason I want to move this is primarily because I've got this whole pile of apple wood that we got from Alan over at Wilderness Hangout. I want to get this split and stacked in the back here. Apple wood is it needs enough time to dry, so I'd like to get at least a few years stacked up here to dry out before we go and use it. And it looks like Sam is still hanging out. He moved a little bit. He's still there. really a beautiful snake, that's for sure. All right, we'll leave Sam there. Let's get to work. When I'm building my stacks, I want to use larger, thicker logs on the bottom, and then continue to use as big as I can up until about your waist, and then I just look for the same size. Important part, I think, is that as we get tall, we want to start leaning in towards the actual stack. I'll show you what I mean here. It is pretty important. So if you look here, we started down here, went up, and then we start leaning in towards the stack. Primarily we do that so that it kind of holds the stack together, so it doesn't fall out. Yeah. All right. Let's start moving some apple wood. Good morning. It is the next day. Friends of ours swing by yesterday, and they hung out for a couple hours, which is always really nice. Whoa. I think I just had a... What the heck was that? Oh boy. Something just jumped on my leg. I hope it wasn't a snake. I'm thinking it may have been a toad. Either way, holy smoke, that scared the crap out of me. All right, so anyways, we had some friends swing by yesterday, so we cut the day short after they left. But we are back out here by the woodshed. We've got some of the apple wood picked up. Still have quite a bit more to go. I mean, we've got a little bit, right? I still got to get through this whole pile here, so that's what we're going to be working on. I don't know if Sam is out hanging out with us. I don't see him. I don't think the snakes come out early. Well, actually, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if we can't find one. They do like this wood pile, that is for sure. All right, so that's going to do it for the split wood. I've got a pile of logs here that I need to cut. So we're going to get these cut, and then we'll get these stacked as well. Okay, well, we've got it all cut. All that whole big pile there is now gone, which is really nice. I'm actually gonna go get the mower. I want to mow all this down, get it cut down a little bit so I can kind of see what we've got in this pile. And we're going to cut all this up for biscuit wood. This is all 2-year-old aged slab wood that I really don't have any use for. It's not really, the size of it is just, it's too small for me to use for anything, except for this big, nice, beautiful slab right here, which I have a plan for, but I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. You'll just have to wait and see. But the rest of that stuff we're going to go ahead and cut up and use for biscuit wood. You notice here I started a second row or a second tier prior to finishing this tier, and the reason I'm doing that is most of our tiers will actually, as I build them up, will lean back on the one behind it for stability. But this is the first row, and this row will actually lean forward into the second tier. So the first tier leans forward into the second tier leans back into the first tier, the third tier leans back into the second tier, and so forth and so on. So I just got to strategically build these two tiers correct so that the rest of the tiers stand nice and stable. So happy with the amount of apple wood we got. It's a little hard to stack because apple wood is not very clean cutting. It's kind of all over the place, but that's okay. We've got good wood. So this will spend the rest of this summer drying, the winter, and then next summer drying, yeah, we'll finally get to this stuff probably at the end of the 2024-25 season, and which by then it will have had more than enough time to dry out, and it will be great firewood for us. So okay, well, hey guys, thanks a lot for sticking around and watching this video. But this has all been fun, but the next project we're going to be working on, which I'm really excited about, is getting the skirting on our new porch. So stay tuned for that video. And in the meantime, if you like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Please share our videos, get the word out of what Jen and I are doing out here in Maine. And we'll see you folks on the next video.